Parties are hard as an autistic person. It's something that a lot of us don't really think about, especially in childhood, but there is a whole social structure around a party. This kind of applies to social gatherings in general, but when talking about childhood and growing up undiagnosed autistic, birthday parties, school gatherings, things like that are really difficult. Not many people talk about the social deficits or differences that autistic people have to face when growing up, because a lot of us, like me, grow up undiagnosed. We don't have the answers, so we sit there questioning why we don't fit in, why we're struggling, and sat there thinking all these things, overthinking everything, while everyone else is just simply enjoying the party. Now, there are a few things that autistic children or autistic people in general will struggle with when it comes to a social gathering or a party. One reason it is difficult and stressful and overstimulating and overwhelming is the sensory aspect. Being in a room full of people with music, usually lights, balloons, a lot of talking, a lot of noise, all of that means that the sensory input is so much more than we're used to. Now, for any child that isn't autistic, a birthday party is probably a really exciting, fun thing to go to. You enjoy it. But for those of us who are autistic, an environment like that can be incredibly overwhelming. It can feel like the music is beating inside your head and you can't escape, and everyone is talking and going there and there and there, and there are too many people and everything is just too much. Unfortunately, I can say that this doesn't really change when it comes to adulthood. I still get overwhelmed at parties. I don't really go to them. I don't really get invited to them, but I don't mind. There are so many inputs that overwhelm us as autistic people that allistic or neurotypical people probably just overlook. This also applies to sleepovers. Parties are one thing, sleepovers are another thing that I really struggled with growing up. I know a lot of autistic women that were late diagnosed. So many of them that I've talked to have agreed with me on the fact that they struggled with sleepovers. It was too much time spent around one person. It was too much time spent around other people in their environment or them intruding on my environment. And the sensory aspect was just multiplied because it was nighttime. They were using my things, I had to use their things, I wasn't in my usual setup, and whether it was a party or a sleepover or a combination of the two, it was very difficult to feel settled. This leads on to the second struggle, and this is structure. As an autistic person, I know I definitely need a lot of structure in my days. I'm a planner, I'm a scheduler, I am the bullet journal autistic. But I think no matter how much you journal, no matter whether you are an organised person, most of us autistic people generally prefer to have some sort of routine. We generally like to have structure, whether it's physical structure of things being in the same place, time structure, scheduling your day or having the same routine every single day, or just any type of structure. Predictability helps when you find change difficult. And so when you're at a party, structure is broken. There isn't a set time that everybody is doing everything. Even if you plan it, which I did, little childhood me cried at my last ever birthday party because I had planned meticulously every single minute of what we were going to do, and naturally the 30 other children in my class did not do what I'd planned. They were touching my things, going everywhere. They were in my bedroom, moving my own belongings out of their very carefully picked spaces, and I just sat and had a breakdown. That was the last ever party I had. I think that pretty much sums up why structure and sensory overwhelm are very difficult when it comes to a social celebration, even if it's your own birthday party. Another way any of these social gatherings are difficult is because, as an autistic person, we struggle to understand a neurotypical way of socialising. We can't pick up on the social cues, we don't know what people are insinuating, the facial expressions, the chit-chat, we just can't do it. It is so difficult to be in an environment where you're already run down by all the sensory aspects. The lights are too bright, the music's too loud, everybody's dancing, you're overwhelmed, you're too hot, you're sweating, you want to get out of there, and yet you have to stand and have a conversation about something you don't understand, and you have to look like you're enjoying it. You have to paste the facial expression on your face and show that you're appreciative that you have been invited. All of that together is the perfect formula for an autistic meltdown. I think this is why so many of us autistic children, whether undiagnosed or not, struggle to voice our needs, because it is so hard to verbalise everything that is going on. It's so hard to put into words how much all the different elements are affecting you, and the fact that when they're all put together, it just sends alarm bells off in your head and everything is too much and you need to get out of there. But when you're supposed to be enjoying a party, especially if it's your own, how do you tell people that? It's so difficult to verbalize that, yes, you are grateful, you're enjoying it, you want to enjoy it, but it is too much. There's also the element of cliques, especially in school. If you're inviting like a class of school children, you are going to have those cliquey little groups, and you always have the question of, where do I fit in? Which table do I sit at the party? Where do I go? Who do I stand with? What do I talk about? Do they like me? Am I invited there? So many questions, and it is just a minefield. Now, I wish I could say that this gets better when you become an adult. But I have to say, if you stay in the same neurotypical environment, if you're still in school, if you're in that environment, it is always going to be somewhat difficult. If your brain is wired in a neurodivergent way, if you're autistic, ADHD, and your brain functions like that, it's never going to fully function in a neurotypical setting. And you know what? That's okay. It is okay to be neurodivergent. It is okay to be autistic. You don't have to change to fit in with a neurotypical world in order to be accepted, in order to live your life, be happy, and be valid. You can be who you are, and that is okay. But I want you to know that if you do feel like that, you aren't alone. I can guarantee that most of the people watching this are feeling the exact same. I think a lot of us have been through that. A lot of us have been through the feeling like we don't fit into any of the cliques, we don't fit in anywhere, and we feel like we can't be ourselves because when we are, we don't fit in. But the solution to this problem, the kind of compromise that I have found going into adulthood is that when I have found neurodivergent people, I've found the community online, I've found people in person, I've met up with my online friends, I've made so many connections through the neurodivergent and the disabled community that when I'm with those people, I don't feel on the outside. It's the first time in my life recently where I feel like I have true friendships, and I have been to parties. I've been to gatherings, I have actually had sleepovers, I've been on trips, I've been in hotels. I have done so many things with my new friends who are pretty much all either autistic, ADHD, chronically ill, or disabled in some sort of way. And I don't feel on the outside. I don't feel alone. I don't worry about what I'm saying. I don't worry about the social battery draining because they just understand. And I am definitely in a privileged place where I can say I have found those people. I adore them. I am so grateful. And I do feel like I definitely have a crowd of people who support me. But there are definitely things you can do to adjust, even if you don't have a group of fully understanding people around you. My formula for an autism-friendly social gathering, whether you're an adult, a teen, child, whoever it is, this is my advice for how I've found I can accommodate my own needs while making it fun for everybody. Number 1, only invite people you know are going to accept and accommodate you. Keep the group small. Just invite a few friends. Don't invite an entire classroom of children who aren't going to understand, because if you do, chances are it's going to go wrong. Chances are if you invite people who are neurotypical, don't understand, and want to do things that you don't want to do, you aren't going to feel like you fit in. You aren't going to feel like you belong there. The best thing I have done, even though it sounds harsh, is cut out people who don't align with me. Cut out people who don't have the same interests as me. All those people who I was friends with for years in high school, in primary school, in college, I don't speak to anymore. And honestly, I'm so much better off from it. Even though, yes, they might be great people. They would be absolutely amazing friends for somebody else. But because I need to accommodate me, and I'm unmasking and doing all these things and changing, I need to align myself with people who are going to accommodate me no matter what. And it's a hard switch to make because it's really hard to cut people out. It's really hard to validate yourself. And it's a lot of change. And change is difficult when you're an autistic person. But it is so worth it when you go through it and you finally see that there are people who will accommodate. Keep it small, hang out with people who do accept you and try to find those people. And you can even split it up and just hang out with people one-to-one. I usually have a couple of things I do for my birthday. I don't have one big celebration, one big party. I just have a couple outings with the people who matter to me. And that's the way I prefer it. Step 2 is plan for a set time and length of your celebration. I find it best to schedule like an activity or book somewhere, book a meal, whatever it is you're doing. Plan for a certain time and also let people know that it's going to be 2 hours or 3 hours, however long it's going to be. Make sure you set that out in advance. If you plan when it's due to end, then you won't be going through the whole struggle of figuring out when you can leave, when it's rude to end, when to kick people out. It's a lot easier if you plan in advance what you're going to do and for how long. That way you can plan breaks in advance and make sure that you're not overusing your social battery. I definitely need to do this more. I overuse my social battery a lot, but it's really hard when you're in the moment to take yourself out of that moment before you hit your limit because you are enjoying it so much. But trust me when I say your future self will thank you if you stop burning yourself out. You can always do things again on another day. Number 3 is utilise physical activities or playful things. This could be things like sports, going to an activity. I went to a really amazing party and we went to a trampoline park. The first party I was invited to for literally about 10 years probably was my friend Adelaide's party. She's autistic and ADHD, another content creator, and she invited about 5 other autistic content creators and people, and we went to like a bouncy castle place and it was just so fun. It was so amazing. We all felt like we fit in. We were doing something physical, so it didn't feel like we had to talk. There wasn't the social pressure there. And it was just a really good icebreaker because we were literally throwing ourselves into this obstacle course thing. And that is the best way to kind of spend time, I think, is actually enjoying an activity alongside another person rather than sitting awkwardly at a table and trying to think of things to talk about. Other ideas that are probably a little bit more accessible are things like going to a museum, going to the cinema, because if you go to the cinema, you don't even have to talk. You can choose a film that you're all going to like, and once you've sat down, you've got your popcorn, you sit and you watch a film. You can enjoy it and you can talk afterwards. You can talk about the film. It gives you a conversation point without actually having to worry about whether you're going to fit in, whether you like the same things. Or you could do something like sports. Go to an aerial obstacle course, I don't know, whatever you want to do. I would highly recommend doing an activity rather than just having a gathering. It gives a lot more structure to it, and even if you just play things like board games, it gives you something to do. Number 4 is know that you deserve to be accommodated. It is not your fault if you are not accommodated. If you have to leave an activity, if you have to leave a party, or you feel like you can't have your own party because the people around you don't like the same things, or it is a big failure and you have a meltdown every single time you have a party, then it's okay to not do it. It's okay to not celebrate in the same way that everybody else does. All the neurotypical people may enjoy parties, but if you don't, that is perfectly okay. You can do whatever you like. If you want to sit, have a cup of tea, read in bed with your cat, and that is what you want to do for your birthday, do it. It is your birthday, it's your life, and you deserve to enjoy it however you want to enjoy it. A lesson that I've learned that is still really hard to accept is you aren't missing out on anything if it isn't something you would enjoy. I always think, I wish I could go clubbing, I want to go to university, I want to go partying. All these people my age are doing all these things and I want to do it. But I realise I don't want to do those things. I want to feel a part of something. It's this feeling of like FOMO, fear of missing out on something that I should be doing, which actually is kind of a social expectation. I don't think I would enjoy it, so I'm trying to teach myself that it's okay to just do what I want to do, and that is fulfilling enough. You don't have to do things in the way that society portrays you should do it. Just do whatever suits you, and that is enough. That's okay. But yeah, I have had some positive experiences recently. I've been to quite a lot of events and parties and sleepovers and trips, and they have gone well, as long as I'm with somebody who I feel myself around, who I can completely unmask and be me. I feel like I do enjoy things. I can enjoy trips. I've even enjoyed travelling, which is such a difficult thing to do as an autistic person, especially as a wheelchair user, disabled person as well. I can enjoy it when I'm with people who accommodate me because I don't have to worry about hiding what I'm going through. So no matter what your needs are, no matter what your struggles are, whether you're autistic, ADHD, disabled, I'm assuming you're autistic if you're watching this, no matter what you need and no matter what your preferences are, what you want to do to celebrate, the most important thing is that you're enjoying it. The most important thing is that you're doing what you like and that you aren't hurting yourself or draining your social battery in order to impress or try to fit in with others. I really hope that you can find the people or the place that you can feel accommodated, but it does take time. I just want to let you know that you're not alone. There are so many people who are going through that, and I'm so lucky to have found my people quite early on. I am still only 19. And yes, I've spent 18 years of my life feeling like the odd one out, feeling like I didn't understand myself, I didn't have a diagnosis of autism at the time. There were so many things I felt completely inadequate at. I thought I wasn't deserving of friends. I thought I couldn't have true friendships and that maybe I just wasn't meant to be with people. I have had some really low moments where I have sobbed thinking I didn't fit in anywhere, that I didn't have a place. But I want to reassure you that if you are feeling like that, You do have a place. You do have people out there. You just need to find them, and it might take some time. But before you find them, please know that you can accommodate yourself and you deserve to. It's so lovely to have people around you who accommodate and accept you, but if you don't, know that you still deserve to accommodate yourself, and it is okay if you need to advocate for yourself, even to the people around you, even if it's your family. It's okay that you have needs. It's okay that you function differently. I just really hope that everybody can get to a point where they do find their people and that you can feel safe enough to unmask. But yes, that is a video I have been wanting to film for a while, ever since I went to the party back in like February or something. It really made me feel like I fit in, and it showed me that there are ways to enjoy things, there are ways to do a party in an autistic friendly way, and that's going to look different for everybody, but here are some ideas. I hope that was relatable, or maybe it made you feel seen, validated, whatever it is. Feel free to comment if you have any thoughts or questions. I'll be doing a lot more videos like this, so subscribe, turn post notifications on if you do want to know when I upload. But yeah, I will see you next week, Sunday, 5 PM for another video. Bye.